What would you say you do here?
I see dead people.
Malkovich!
Are you ready for the top 5 movies of 1999?
No.
All right. Well,
I
let's
found
do it.
this year to be very difficult
Yeah.
because there was a lot of movies, and they were probably like, very trend-breaking movies. But the thing is, once you saw the movie, you didn't need to see the movie again.
Okay.
It was like these one-time things.
Yeah,
So-
some I could see that. Sure.
Yeah. So I had a problem like putting them on my list.
Okay. Well, do you want to go first? Get your 5 out of the way?
Yeah, I'll go first to get my 5 out of the way. My number 5, and I very reluctantly put this down as my number 5,
Mm-hmm.
because I really didn't like the movie originally, and I still don't like the movie
Yeah.
because Jar Jar Binks is in it.
Oh no, you didn't.
Yes, I did, unfortunately. So, yes, Star Wars.
The Phantom
Episode
Menace.
1, The Phantom Menace.
I forgot this even came out in 99. I wanted to erase it from my memory, I think.
If it wasn't for the cartoon portions of the movie, I
Yeah.
thought it was like a really good movie. I
Yeah.
mean, it was traditional. It had good actors in it. Liam Neeson, Ewan McGregor, Natalie Portman,
Right.
Samuel L. Jackson, and
Yeah.
he
Star
was in
Wars,
person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Right. The only movie probably.
He was a calm Jedi
Yeah.
in this movie and stuff.
Right.
And then, of course, Jake Lloyd is the kid. It wasn't really too bad.
Yeah.
So you take Jar Jar Binks and the cartoon portion out of the movie, and it wasn't a really bad movie. I mean, it was like, the beginning of Anakin Skywalker when he was a kid and stuff.
Yeah, it's not the worst of the prequels. I think Hayden Christensen actually made them worse, or the second one. But yeah, it's one of those things where like the expectations were so high that there was no chance of it really being great to begin with, in a way. Because I mean, the originals were just so one of the most perfect trilogies of all time.
Right.
And
But,
yeah.
if it wasn't for this movie, we wouldn't have had the other 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
How
7,
many now?
I don't know, maybe 8 movies,
Right.
and then all the cartoons and
all the
all the other
in-between,
stuff
Rogue One
came
and all
out.
that. Yeah.
So even though the movie was not a great movie,
Yeah.
it still was an important movie.
And I would say that stuff with Darth Maul was really cool. The lightsaber
Yeah, I mean,
fights.
the double, lightsaber coming out from both ends. It seemed like a trademark with Star Wars,
Right.
always coming out with a different type of, weapon and stuff like that.
Yeah, and the final duel with him and Ewan McGregor, who
Right.
was great as Obi-Wan. I thought that was really cool. But
Yeah.
all right,
I
well,
mean,
cool.
it did have, like really good parts in it. It's just
Yeah.
why Jar Jar Binks?
Yeah, I know. Damn you, George Lucas.
I know.
Oh well, good mention there. So my number 5 is The Talented Mr. Ripley.
Yeah, I was thinking about that movie, but then again, it's like one of those movies where you see it once, now the movie is over.
I've seen this one multiple times,
Have
and
you
actually,
really?
it's grown on me. Like the first time I saw it, I wasn't that crazy about it. Actually, like I thought it was okay, But then when I saw it a second time, I really saw it for more of the um, I don't know, the style of it. Like it's beautifully shot in this town in Italy, and all this stuff over in Europe. And Matt Damon's acting is really like
Yeah,
at
I mean,
another
Damon
level.
did really an excellent job acting in that movie. And
Yeah,
you're right, the scenery is beautiful in
right.
the movie. And maybe I need to revisit it again because I really only saw it once.
Right. Yeah. It's because his character is so despicable, like the things that he does, that it's like kind of to me at first it was one of those, well, I don't need to see this again. But
Yeah,
then when you see it more, like especially the side characters, like Jude Law also was great. Philip Seymour Hoffman, that he's always great. Like he was just a side character. Um, but his scenes are awesome. And then of course you got Paltrow and what's her name that's in Lord of the Rings and Elizabeth and all those movies. So many great actors in the movie. It's just so well done. So I had to have it. But all right. Well, what's your number 4?
all right, my number 4, and I've had this before,
Mm-hmm.
Sleepy Hollow.
Okay. Yeah.
Tim
Yeah.
Burton, director, one of my favorite directors, because he always has like this little dark side.
Yeah.
And Johnny Depp,
Mm-hmm.
Christina Ricci.
Ricci. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I finally pronounced her name right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Christopher Lee as the was in it.
Right. And Christopher Walken too, right? Didn't he
Yes,
play the Headless Horseman?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He played the headless horseman.
Right. Right.
So yeah, it's a new take on uh, Washington Irving's classic, obviously Sleepy Hollow,
Yeah.
short story.
Yeah.
So Ichabod Crane, it's a little different and stuff. It's more like a curse that
Yeah.
they have to like figure out and solve and stuff. So I mean,
Yeah.
the action, filming was good. The story was good. The acting was good.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's right in Tim Burton's wheelhouse, so it's it was the
yeah,
perfect movie for
yeah,
him to
yeah.
direct for sure.
You didn't really have to. I've seen this movie like I don't know, maybe 10, 12 times.
Really? I think I've
Yeah,
only seen it once actually. I
yeah,
may need to revisit that one.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really good. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, and it doesn't get you know, the other people that like to watch that movie either.
Right, right.
But it's like, but
Yeah, it's one of those dark movies that
yeah,
everybody can get on board.
yeah,
Yeah. And
yeah,
Johnny Depp, he's always good.
yeah. I
So,
mean, it's not like Beetlejuice.
right,
You know,
yeah.
you know, it's not
All wacky.
that
Yeah.
whacked out comedy type thing.
Right.
It's a horror drama type of movie.
Right. Yeah. Okay, cool. Good pick. So my number 4 is, this may also go on your list as one to see once. But I find especially right after I saw it, I needed to see it again, and that is Fight Club.
Yes, it's definitely one of those movies.
Yeah, a lot of
Because
there's not a lot of yeah,
once you find out the end,
right.
I mean, if I liked the movie, as I watching it and stuff,
Yeah.
I thought, it because it was different.
Right.
Then
Yeah.
you're figuring out why, the guy's doing this Fight Club thing,
Mhm.
with people fighting and stuff like that. And he was
Right.
like really psyched in the movie and stuff like that, like beating people up and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
then you get to the end, which I'm not going to say what the end was in case
Right.
people actually haven't seen the movie. It just seemed almost, number one, it was a surprise, but then
Oh
it was
yeah.
also anticlimactic.
Yeah, that is a complaint some people have with it. But I appreciate, I think the style of the movie so much that for me, I go back and rewatch it, and especially like you said, the surprise is such a shock that it makes you want to rewatch and see, okay, how did that, is that really okay? Now you connect the dots to see how it makes sense. But yeah, Edward Norton and Brad Pitt are so good in it, and it has such like a sick, twisted sense of humor throughout it. Uh, that like some stuff is like really messed up with Meatloaf, the guy at the when he's going to these cancer seminars,
Oh
and
yeah, God.
just like the author of this book that it's based on, he's really got quite an imagination. But
A little demented.
yeah, for sure. But it really goes into like some dark places of, and kind of that line of like, where's the gray area in because it ends up going in a very almost Nazi direction towards the end of the movie, when they start doing like these horrible things outside of the Fight Club.
Yeah.
But but then that's the interesting part, is like halfway through the movie you're almost like, I could kind of see why you would start a fight club, like to get your aggression out. It's weird, but okay. So yeah, I think it
Well, I
has
mean,
some,
it's so different from, boxing matches.
right, yeah,
Except, because, people like watching them and betting on them and things like that. So, I
right,
mean, so you're right. You could see like, well, Fight Club, it's like amateur,
yeah,
people,
yeah,
getting into like fighting and stuff. But thing is, violence breeds violence.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's good that it ended up going the direction it
Which
did.
they did.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
it would glorify violence, which it when it came out, it got a lot of complaints with that. But I think a lot of people didn't really get it. So, but yeah, I think it's one of Pitt's best performances. He's so over the top in that,
Yeah.
as
I mean,
Tyler
I have
Durden.
nothing against the acting in the movie whatsoever.
Yeah,
I think the acting was great also. It's
right.
just that, one time factor.
Yeah,
After I saw it, I just didn't feel the need to go through all that and watch it again.
right. I wonder. I think we may only have one in common on this one. We'll see. So, what's your number three?
My number three is a movie that I've watched many, many times also.
Hmm.
And I even have like the grandchildren and everybody watch it. And I've made you watch it many times.
Yes.
The Mummy.
Wow, you put the Mummy that high? Okay.
Yeah.
And this is not the Tom Cruise Mummy, obviously. This is the Brendan
Brendan
Fraser, right?
Fraser, yeah, Rachel Weisz movie.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I only saw it the one time you showed it to me.
And it had two sequels.
Yeah. I gotta say, like, for an action kind of popcorn movie, it was good.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole point. It was a
Yeah.
popcorn movie. It was a movie that you could keep watching over and over again and
Right.
still be entertained by it.
Yeah.
Imhotep. Imhotep.
Yeah. it had a little bit of like the Indiana Jones feel to it. Obviously being in that desert surrounding gave it that
Right.
vibe
They
too,
were
but
looking for Egyptian treasure. They knew that there was a tomb there.
yeah.
But unfortunately, there was also a cursed mummy there. And
Yeah.
he wanted to bring his girlfriend back. And Rachel Weisz was going to be the vessel for his girlfriend.
That's right. I remember now. What
Yeah.
aren't there doesn't the ending involve like a lot of like large insects or something, or like the
Those,
dude turns
those
into
little,
one.
those little beetle things.
Yes, yes,
Those
right.
Egyptian beetle things, scarabs. I think they're called scarabs.
Okay. And who plays the villain in the movie? I forget.
Uh, Arnold Vaslov, I believe, is his real
That's
name.
why I forgot, I guess.
Yeah, right.
But I could picture his face though. Like he really has a very
Yeah,
villainous
right.
look to
Yeah,
him.
yeah, and yeah, I had shaved head and stuff like that.
Right.
And then there was the sleazy guy.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I remember.
You know, he was like the comedy portion of
Sure.
the thing. Yeah,
Yeah, you gotta always gotta have a sleazy guy.
right. And then they even had cowboys in there that they brought in from the United States.
Right.
You know, that also were looking for the treasure and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting how Brendan Fraser like was really a huge box office draw at that time, and then I don't know what exactly happened, but he hasn't done stuff in a while.
Yeah, and before that, I think he did A Journey to the Center of the Earth remake. And it
Uh-huh.
was like in 3D. It was like a
Right.
big thing. But and then he made these, and then yeah, he was like, I'm sure if we looked it up, we'd go, oh yeah, he was in that one.
I thought I heard recently that he was actually cast in a Martin Scorsese movie that's filming right now or something. So maybe he's making a comeback, but
Yeah, it could be.
but
Yeah,
anyway,
you're right. I don't remember him in really anything after the Mummy movies.
right, right. He ruined Hollywood with The Mummy. So
Yeah.
so my number 3 is totally different than that. It is Being John Malkovich.
Yes, and that was another movie.
This is another one that people love or hate, I think.
Well, no, it was. I will say it was very creative.
Yes,
Yes,
definitely.
yes, and then even when it got to the point where John Malkovich was inside John Malkovich, it was starting. It was starting to get even weirder.
Right. When he yell, he's just saying Malkovich over and over again. That's the best. But yeah, I like it. Creative is the perfect word for this movie. Like just from the beginning, where this guy who's trying to get a job, John
He's a
Cusack.
puppeteer.
He's a puppeteer, and he can't get a job, so
John Cusack.
he goes to this building, and he goes to the 7.5 floor, which is like this tall, and like just that whole thing is perfect. And then the whole thing, the concept of being able to go inside somebody for a certain length of time, and then
I
you're
think it was 15 minutes.
15 minutes, and then you
And
get
then you
spit out
jump
onto the New Jersey Turnpike.
Turnpike on the side of New Jersey Turnpike, yes.
Yes, it's so
And-
great.
And then they were abusing John Malkovich's body.
Yes, Catherine Keener, who's also great in this.
Yeah.
They start selling tickets to be
Right.
in, and then they can start influencing what he does as a puppeteer, his talent.
Right. But one of the women, I can't remember which one it was, not the
Yes.
one that was selling tickets, the other one. She,
Cameron Diaz, yeah.
yes, Cameron Diaz, that was it. And she went in
Yeah.
uh, to his body and then used his body to have sex with the one that was selling the
To
tickets.
have a lesbian affair.
A lesbian
mean-
affair, right? And so now she had a male organ that she could use.
Right. This movie it's messed up on so many levels.
Yes. So that's why,
Yeah.
I again say that this was another movie that you only needed to see once.
Yeah, well, Mark and I would definitely disagree because I mean we still quote things to each other, which some of them I can't say. But yeah. It's so great.
I admit that the movie was clever and it was totally different,
Yeah.
and it came from somebody's whacked out mind, maybe not John Malkovich's.
No, no. Well, Malkovich is a whacked out individual, no
Well,
doubt.
yes, I know that in real life.
But I believe it was written and directed by Spike Jonze, who his movies tend to be a little out there for the most part.
This movie was
So-
way out there.
Oh yeah. So not on your list, obviously.
No, it wasn't on my list because, again, to me, for me, it only had watching it one time.
Okay. So
One
what's
time-
your number two?
One time was enough. I mean, you had Lesbian, you had John Malkovich inside John Malkovich. I mean,
Right.
then you had the puppeteer,
Yes.
taking total control of John Malkovich's body. It was longer than 15 minutes.
Right. For years.
And then resulted in John Malkovich giving up being an actor and becoming a puppeteer.
See, now you've only seen this movie once, but see how much you remember of it? That shows how great this movie is. And it's only my number three. So what's your number two?
My number two, totally different from my other movies.
Yes. Okay.
and John Malkovich.
Uh-huh.
And actually, the first time I saw this movie, I really didn't like the movie that much.
Okay.
But I've grown to get very fond of it. And I've also grown to, well, I'll tell you, the name of the movie is Notting Hill.
Notting Hill. Okay.
Yes.
I don't
Julia
think I've seen
Roberts.
this.
Julia Roberts and Hugh Grant. It's a romantic comedy.
Okay.
To me, it was like more romantic. But the thing was, Julia Roberts spoke very softly throughout the movie. She was a movie star,
Mm-hmm.
and she was in England. Hugh Grant was a bookstore owner that he
Yeah.
only sold travel books.
Okay.
Okay, so she came in one time, right? And I'm pretty sure that he didn't recognize her right away.
Yeah.
Okay, and then it was like they had this connection, but it was a distant connection. It wasn't like, and then like they met a couple of times. She had a boyfriend and stuff like that. So there was always like these moments like where they might get together, and then something happened and they didn't.
Yeah. Okay.
But it was like the directing was like they showed the faces, like close up of the
Mhm.
faces, and it was, to me, it was like the intensity in her eyes, like when they were talking, and if he wasn't sure, like if she really wanted to do something or not, but it was the intensity of her looking at him, and you could see her looking at him, and it was almost like, like begging, or, come on, say
Yeah.
something, do something,
Right.
that type of thing. It was very, very intense.
Okay, cool. I'll have to add this to my watch list because I never
Yeah.
saw it. I'm surprised you put that high, but that's cool. I know you're a Hugh Grant fan, so
Yeah, I'm not really a Julia Roberts fan, but
uh-huh.
this movie with Julia Roberts,
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't really like her in, what was that one she was with? I can't think of that, where she was like a prostitute.
Oh, Pretty Woman.
Yeah, Pretty Woman. Like that one, I didn't like her in this one, but
Right.
this one, she was like, I thought
Okay.
she was really excellent. in that.
Cool. I'll check it out. All right, interesting. This is getting, we may not even have one in common now. So my number two is the one I thought maybe we'll have in common. We'll see, but The Sixth Sense.
That is my number 6.
What? It didn't even make your top 5?
The reason why is because you watch it once,
Another
you find out the end, right?
yeah.
There's really no reason to go back unless you want to go, why didn't I pick this up sooner?
Yes, but it's so well done that I think it really
Yes, it was. That's why it was my number 6 as
Okay.
one of those movies that,
Yes.
if you see once, you don't really need to see again. But because it was so well done and because the ending was so,
Yeah.
caught you off, caught you off
Yeah.
and by surprise.
I think it's one of the best surprise endings ever because, yeah, you really don't see it coming, but it's so perfect
Right.
the way it's tied up.
The surprise ending of this is even better than the surprise ending of Fight Club.
Yeah. But you know what I think gives it its, because I've probably watched this movie like 10 or more times, and it's the performances, especially by the kid, Haley Joel Osment, was so amazing in the movie. Like, you always think of the surprise, but I always go back to like the scene near the end where he finally tells his mom his secret, and he's telling her about how he's been communicating with the grandmother who's passed on. And it's like such an emotional scene. Like I get teary every time I watch it, actually. That's how good I think it is. And then Bruce Willis, who's more known for these diehard
Right.
action kind of movies.
Yeah.
He was so like
Calm.
believable, I think, and tender in this movie, and his relationship with the kid was great. And I don't think, unfortunately, M. Night Shyamalan, I don't think he's ever topped this one, and probably never will at this point.
Yeah, I don't think he ever has either.
Because it's like he's always trying to do these surprise endings in every movie now, where it's like, all right, there's going to be a surprise. Like, who cares? But yeah, it's just such a well done movie that defies, it's not just a horror movie. It's beyond that. It's really a great drama, I think. One of the best of all time, but only your number 6. So
Well,
now I think I
no.
know your number 1 now.
Now, well, wait a second. Remember my premise in the beginning
Yeah.
was that I wasn't, because they were number 1s, I couldn't really put them on my list. I was doing like all these movies that I've seen multiple times.
Yeah.
Like you said, popcorn movies.
Right.
So
Right.
during this year, and by the way, this was the end of the century.
Yes.
We never even said that.
Right.
This
Yeah.
these were the last movies of the 20th century.
Yeah, and like I always look at this as really one of the best years in movies, because it seemed like so many filmmakers were trying to make their best work, for better or worse. Sometimes it wasn't, but we've listed some of the great movies so far. Like even my honorable mention that we'll get to is by a great filmmaker. And yeah, so it's like 99 people were really trying to churn out some greatness.
Yeah, and there was a lot of great movies, and a lot of those one-timers were like really good, great
Yeah.
movies.
One
No,
timers, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm serious. I mean,
Right.
I'll admit that I probably saw The Sixth Sense twice.
Okay. All right.
Because of the surprise ending, and then I wanted to go back and see why
Yeah.
did I miss this? What clues did I
Right.
miss that I didn't know the ending before the ending? Because
Yeah.
usually I can figure out like the ending, before.
Yeah. So this is also the first episode where we have none in common. This is exciting.
You really think so?
I know so.
Oh, okay. All right.
Dude, there's no way my number one is yours. So
Okay.
can I try and guess yours?
Well, yeah, I don't think you have to guess. I think you know.
Is it The Matrix?
Yes, it's The Matrix.
Okay. Yep, that's not mine. So that's cool.
All right. This is like great. Well, my number 6 matched your.
Yeah. I almost put this as my number 6, but I didn't. So yeah, great action movie. I mean, it really, there was nothing really like it at the time.
Right. It spawned 2 movies.
Yeah.
Plus, there's one coming out, A
Right.
Matrix 4.
Uh-huh.
You know, which I don't know, like when they do these things like 20 years apart or whatever, you know, they usually don't turn out that good.
Right.
But, you know, great science fiction concept. You know, the artificial intelligence things,
Mm-hmm.
you know, have taken over the world. And women, men, humans are now batteries,
Yes.
basically. So Keanu Reeves plays somebody who they think is going to be the savior and bring the human race out of captivity from being batteries and back into the real world. That the world now, as they see it, is all fiction.
Yeah. It's a really cool premise.
Yeah,
And Lawrence Fishburne is so cool as the guy to explain all this.
yeah, yeah.
What's his name?
Morpheus.
Morpheus. Yeah.
yeah. Morpheus.
Right.
And like the action scenes are unbelievable.
Yeah.
I
The way
mean,
they
this-
pause and
you know,
move the camera around.
Yeah, right. Like everybody's copied this since then.
Right.
You know, you
Yeah.
know,
The
but-
Wachowski brothers were ahead of their time the way
Yeah,
they filmed it.
Yeah, but this was like the beginning, you know,
Right.
of all that. You know, stop.
Yeah. And I don't think any of the sequels were quite as good as the first one.
The third one was very disappointing.
Yeah.
The second one still gave you hope that there was going to be, you know, something really good, and then the third one was like a letdown.
Yeah.
But
The,
to me, this was like, you know, a breakthrough action, you know, science fiction movie.
Yeah, and Hugo Weaving as the villain is great. The guy with the sunglasses, and the final fight scene is so cool when you know,
Yeah.
Keanu finally gets the full Matrix or whatever, and he's just beating the hell out of the guy really fast. So
Yeah,
cool.
and you know the way that they educated them, you know,
Right.
like you know, and yeah, using a telephone,
Yeah.
you know,
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there was some really cool concepts in the movie that yeah, so I can see why it would be now you're not going to see my number one coming, but you'll know what it is.
Well, there's one I was hoping you were going to talk about because I didn't see it
Okay.
and I didn't know how good it was going to be, and
Yeah.
that was a Pacino movie.
Oh, I think if it's the one you're thinking of, I may not have seen it either actually. Inside Man,
Yeah,
was that 99? Yeah, I never
Yeah.
saw it actually. I need to
Yeah.
see that one.
so that was one movie that I didn't see. So
Okay.
now there's actually 3 movies that could be your
Uh-huh.
top one.
Yes.
And I'm going to guess that it's The Office.
You mean Office Space?
Office Space. Yeah.
Yes, that is it. Yeah. I've seen this movie probably over 20 times. And it's one of the few movies that I've seen multiple times in the theater because I thought it was so freaking funny that I had to like bring other people to see it. And part of it for me is like because I've worked in an office for so many years, I feel like Mike Judge, the director, who also worked in an office, so it came from his real life experience. he nailed it. Like all the characters from the boss of Bill Lumbergh, who I still quote on a regular basis, just the way he goes, yeah, you're gonna have to come in on Saturday, like all that stuff, to Milton, the guy that they moved down to the basement, and he's so weird and he just wants the stapler. Just every single character is so great. It's one of my favorite comedies of all time. So yeah, I mean, the whole thing with Peter is the main character and he's just getting tired, and then Jennifer Aniston is great in the movie. All the side characters, the consultants that are both named Bob, so they call them the Bobs. And like there's that scene where he's almost interrogating this guy and he says, what would you say you do here? And like the guy really did nothing. He's like, well, sometimes I get the facts off the machine, or my secretary does that. And I mean, just the guy whose name is Michael Bolton and he loves rap music. I can go on and on. So I won't bore you with it. But
No,
yeah.
you're not boring. I saw the movie. I think I saw it twice, at least twice.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just, it's like you like that type of comedy.
Yeah.
It just.
I forgot to mention the neighbor who can hear him through the wall at his apartment. And I mean, some of his lines are just the best of all time, where he's like, what would you do with $1 million? And he goes, I'd tell you what I'd do, man. 2 chicks at the same time. It's like so classic. The Indian guy that's always pissed off. The guy that just pops up every once in a while at the office who's like, I'm gonna show her my O face, and like all this stuff. It's just great. So now this is our first one where none in common.
Yeah, we did.
So we're gonna have to go
Oh,
to
wait, what
Letterboxd.
is your number 6?
My number 6 is Bringing Out the Dead.
Okay, you did do that one.
Martin Scorsese's movie about Nicolas Cage as an ambulance driver,
Okay.
which is a weird movie, but it's really cool.
No, I saw it a long time ago. I remember it.
That's one that I think I may have only seen once.
Driver.
Yeah, but I need to rewatch that one because I remember this is one of those movies where because of the soundtrack, I learned about a great song from Van Morrison. And for that reason, I think I like the movie even more. But yeah, what was your honorable mention?
The Sixth Sense.
Oh, right. Okay.
Right. And we had 11 movies
Yeah.
we mentioned, and we didn't mention the big one that year,
Which was?
Magnolia.
Oh, yeah. See, I so many great movies. Like that almost was my honorable mention also.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great
I mean,
movie.
to me I didn't like Cruise's character that much.
See, that's where we differ. I really enjoyed his performance in that.
Oh, so you're one of those guys that would be in the audience.
No, but it was just great to see Cruise, like, because he's always like a little bit arrogant in most of his movies, so that he went full arrogant.
Well, I know, but the thing was, he still had that shitty smile.
Yes.
So that like threw it off.
I think Paul Thomas Anderson wrote the part specifically for him. So yeah, it's not what I don't even know if it would be. Yeah, it would be in my top 5 Paul Thomas Anderson movies, but I mean, he's got so many great ones now. But yeah, that's one that I think I've only seen a couple times. But yeah.
Yeah, then it was like different people in the thing, but they were still interrelated in the movie.
Right.
It was like one of those movies.
Yeah. So as we're talking here, I'm trying to get grades on Letterboxd so I can fill this thing out. because this is difficult. Okay, so we're gonna have to go head to head with our number ones.
Well, wait a second.
Yeah,
We are my 6 and your number 2
Sixth
Were-
Sense.
were
Yeah,
so we did
kind of have one in common
comment,
technically.
yeah.
So what are you? You're not saying that should be number one though, right?
No, I'm not saying that should be
Okay.
number 1. So I mean, if you do 2 and 6 is 8, and divide by 2, that would be 4. If
Yeah,
you wanted
well,
to do that.
Yeah, that's I don't know, but yeah, okay. So Matrix versus Office Space. The Matrix wins. It has a 4.1. Office Space has a 3.8. So that'll come in at number 2. Then we have Sixth Sense versus Notting Hill, which we'll give it to Sixth Sense anyway because the 2 and 6 thing. But also it has a higher grade, 3.9 versus Notting Hill at 3.5. So we'll put Notting Hill at 4. And now it's between The Mummy and Being John Malkovich for the
Oh.
5 spot. So The Mummy has a 3.4 and Being John Malkovich has
Got to be higher.
a 4.0. Yeah. So Malkovich makes it. But yeah, this was a tough year, man.
Yeah, I mean, there was so much, and there was movies we didn't even mention. There was the raunchy high school movie.
American Pie. Yeah.
Right. Then there was one with Weatherspoon and
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
yeah,
Cider House Rules or something?
no,
Or-
Forrest Bueller. Forrest Bueller was he was
Oh, yes. It's a kind of like a dark comedy. I can't
The
remember
Election.
the name. Election, right.
yeah, right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, lots of good stuff. So let's read off the official favorite movies of 1999 of 3 and 4. Here we go. At number 5, Being John Malkovich. At number 4, Notting Hill. At number 3, The Sixth Sense. At number 2, Office Space. And at number 1, The Matrix. Yeah. Such a, like, I think we have every genre represented on this list.
Yeah,
It's
I
all
mean,
over the place.
I mean, that it's really a good list.
Yeah, I would say so. I'll
Maybe we
have to
should
check out
maybe
Notting
we
Hill.
should try to have all different movies.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, cool. So we're going to go into a new millennium next
That's
time.
right, a new millennium.
2000, which 2000 was a pretty strong year too, I got to say. And then from there, it's all downhill. No, there's some good stuff in the 2000s. So stay tuned for the next one. We'll see you then. And I'll see you then. Love you.
Love you too.
All right, bye.